out of shape there a little bit. Helps to use something flat to get you back on track. We're using the lines and stuff here on the back that we drew. But what really matters, of course, is how does this look from the other side? Are you seeing what I'm seeing? No, not here, over here. Look at where I blew all that wood out. I was using little saw blades I was cutting over there, and I was on the back side with the teeth, you know, blowing the wood out this way. Man, I totally wasn't thinking. That's why I'm covering it up right now. I don't want you to fixate on it the way I am. One of the things I do, I forgot to mention this before on all these openings. First of all, I don't like the look of the burnt wood, so you can see I've kind of sanded that. Oh, here's an example of how the burnt wood looks from the laser, you know. And so I sand all that, but I know this is super anal, but I radius all of these. You know what I mean? So there's no square corners here. I just think it looks better. And we'll do the same thing here. You know, piece of 80, or I think this might be 100. Anyway, I'll take my time. Don't go too far. Again, that's a, you know it when you know it, just a light radius on that all the way around. Looks real nice. Then we finish it, it's gonna look great. Something like that. What are we doing here? A couple things. This is, I know it's a big mess here, because I'm figuring, I'm calculating and figuring. Hold on, it's gonna get noisy. Oh, shoot. So life gets really busy up here for a nitro power boat. If you're running electric, life is a whole lot easier. We got to squeeze some fuel tanks in over here. Dude, did I seriously just... Anyway, we're going to squeeze our fuel tanks in over here. You're going to hate that. There's a lot of extra work we're going to have to do over there. But I want everything as far forward as possible in this boat. You've noticed, presumably you've noticed, that this thing's a big kite up here in the front. There's a whole lot of surface area causing lift. So we got to lay a lot of weight right here, pretty close to in line with the turn fin, slightly forward. We're kind of targeting our sponson transoms a little bit, right, to get this part pretty heavy right here. So everything goes up there. What's happening here, somewhere there's a, let me go get it. Here we go. This is pretty much the setup that I run currently. I don't think this is available anymore, so I got to switch. But the idea, well, first of all, the servo. I'll use these waterproof Savox servos. That way I don't have to put it in a box or anything. Remember, we got to be able to do everything from here because there's going to be a deck, so this is going to go here. Whoops, I reached over top. Can't do that, that's cheating. Come through this way. Little notch here for that to fit through. And down she goes. We will lay more material on the back here for the screws to bite into, so we'll get to that, don't worry about it. And I'm hoping, according to theory, I'll be able to feed these wires through, at least this one. And, oh, hey, let's put the side on. That'll be even more exciting. Hold tight. Don't know if you can see this. She'll sit like that. I think I'm going to go the other way with these. I won't have the liberty of being able to look down at them, you know what I mean? So it might be that a piece of wire or something will help feed this through a little bit better. Okay? And then we'll shove a piece of foam up in here. Just enough, it'll push up against the top and it'll keep pressure on this thing so that it won't bounce out. All right? Where is the switch? This is what I don't know yet, if I can get the battery in and out while the switch is installed. I left this rib here for two reasons. One is I didn't want to totally weaken this forward section, but secondarily, I need a place to mount the switch. These wires have to curve sharply because it will fit right here. Okay, up, down, right here. Locking switch, these are really cool. Bill Brandt, Rattlesnake RC, has these. These actually came from Daniel Place. You can locate him on, I believe, International Waters, maybe on Jim's RC Boat Dock. If you strike out, let me know and I'll see if I can get the info for you. But you can just get them from Bill. When you're getting all the rest of your stuff, which you should get it all from Bill. He's a great guy, super helpful. Daniel, by the way, is a super cool dude too, and he makes some really trick stuff. So I do use his stuff. Yeah, so theoretically that'll fit right there. Now the receiver, what are we doing? Okay, I use a waterproof receiver in my other boats, and I have had glitches with it in my gas boat, so I have started putting the receiver in these little containers. I do it in the gas boat over there, and no problems ever since. However, I can't sit this guy here because with the motor, carburetor, and our mini throttle servo, by the way, it's this guy right here. You grab this from Bill. This guy is going to sit right up here, and we will have a real close direct link to the carburetor with a piece of cable. Trust me, you'll see. It works awesome. And it just gets too busy. There's too much. It's going to hit. I don't really want to go all the way forward with this because I plan to leave, not these, but about that much deck on the front before the opening begins. So I really want the receiver box to sit right here, and it's just too big. So I have ordered a smaller box. I found a box that looks pretty cool on the pictures. Should be here Monday. Hopefully it fits right there and we solve this problem. I don't really know yet. I'm going on faith here, and I'll figure it out. Even if these wind up just being cutouts and not usable, and I have to do something else with the receiver and the battery, you know, we stick it on the ground. I don't know, something. Who knows? We'll figure it out. For sure, I like the servo here. I know that all the rage now is to use the servo further. It's probably my fault. I did this a few years back and started mounting servos back here, and I think I posted videos or something on it, where I really liked it because you use a really short steering rod, right? And you kind of eliminate a lot of that flex you get in the steering rods. And that's fine, but on this boat, like we've already talked about, I'm trying really hard to get all the weight forward. I've run long steering rods for many, many years and had them work just fine. And this boat is so small, it's really not all that long. And I'll show you how we make a nice strong one, okay? So that's where she's gonna go. I like this idea for ease of replacement, right? It's pretty simple. When the motor's here, it will be more or less out of the way. I should be able to pull the pipe off and get in here and remove those screws real easily. If you're running an electric motor, life is really easy for you, and I hate you for it. All right, so here's a couple things you're going to do. You can do this right now if you want. Cut this guy out. Make it fit snug, right? Because when this is in there, sure, you're going to have the screws in it, but the more you can rely on the wood to prevent the rotation this thing is going to attempt to do, you know, when you're steering, this thing is going to try to turn. You want it kind of snug. You'll see there's a little bit of play here. Once I put sealer and stuff on here, the wood will actually swell a little bit and it'll tighten. But nonetheless, it's going to have screws in it. And the more snug you can make it, the less it relies on the screws and the less it will tend to wiggle the screws loose. Okay, so do that. Do these cutouts now if you want. Use your stuff. Figure it out. Where's your motor going to sit? Okay. If you're really trying to follow along, let's grab a ruler. And if you want, you can do exactly what I'm doing. I'm a little forward from here, right? How come? Well, two reasons. Because you have to because of this flange. Secondarily, we're going to cut some of the material I removed is going to lay right here. Give my screws a little something more to bite into. Every time I build a boat, I threaten to find a better way to mount servos because I think this is really stupid. But every time I get lazy and I do it like this, but it's fine. So it's almost ½ inch forward. Whatever size hole you need for your servos, if you're using one of these, here you go. You wind up pretty close to 2 inches forward, 2 1/8 there maybe. This opening, I started it at 3, ends at 5 1/4. Next one starts at 6. I know this is at an angle. ends at 8.5. Okay, I don't know, can you see that? I'm gonna move my head around because I have no way to know if you're seeing that in the GoPro. Okay, leave it up a little bit off the floor. A couple reasons. Number one is you don't want it laying in water. You know, water's going to get in here. Don't just slap it all the way down. It's waterproof, but you don't want it laying and trapping water underneath there, okay? So raise it up slightly. Secondarily, and the reason this piece is laying here is we're going to reinforce this floor. This takes a beating. Plus, look how large that area is with no support. So we have an area that, first of all, takes a beating. Secondarily, is huge. So we're going to reinforce it, cut you a piece. Go in here first. Hopefully you were fairly tight on your epoxy and didn't get super carried away. Whatever you left in there, use these blades here, clean it out. Get as tight into these corners as you can because we want this piece laying down flat against this guy as much as is humanly possible. And if you've got big goobers of epoxy in here, it's going to stand up on there and you're going to be really disappointed. So cut a piece, get it to fit pretty close, mark it, don't forget to sign it, put it in. We're going to lay a bunch of pieces on here and weight it. It's a good idea. I have my support back in here, by the way, up here on the front, because we're going to weight this, don't want it moving. Good idea to put some in here and there underneath to support this midsection as well. Yeah. You might not be able to tell, but it flexes out of shape pretty easily. And we want to hold it while we put a bunch of weight on it. And we'll put a couple more on there and maybe stand some on the side like this. And then we're going to come back and cut some of this out because we're going to put in an engine well. Oh, by the way, it's not mandatory. If you're doing an electric boat, you can have the motor up above. And especially if you run one of the cables, a cable drive system to the rear, the motor can be up. And then just run the cable. You know, you got a little loop, not a loop, but radius going back to your strut. We'll deal with all of that. Don't worry about it. I'm not building electric, but all of the principles there are the same. If you're using a nitro, and especially if you're using the solid flex drive that we will talk about later, I have a video on it, by the way. You should go look that up. It is the coolest thing of all time. However, it can break if you're asking the rod to do too much, to flex too much. So you want it as straight as possible. Plus, if you're racing, if you're not just building a fun boat and you want to race this thing, you want to bang the weight down a ways if you can get away with it, right? You know, if you can lower it a 1/4 inch, that's a good thing. So there will be an engine well here. Is that, did I give you 2 reasons? Is that 2 reasons? Let's see, racing, cable, solid drive. Lower center of gravity. Yes, I think that's 2 main reasons. 3rd reason I can't recall right now, but I'm going to tell you. Oh, yes, I know why. When you put a nitro in here, you're going to have to be able to get the starting belt off and on the round cylindrical thing that has a notch. Flywheel, thank you. The flywheel is going to be right here, and you've got to be able to get the belt in and out. And if you bang the flywheel down against the floor, obviously you can't. So your motor would have to sit up way high to give you that room, and yeah, we can't have that. So there will be an engine well here that we will cut out later. You don't want to cut it out now, because then when you're trying to weight all this, that cutout area is going to move around real funny. So make you a new floor. Oh, 1/16. You're going 1/16 onto this 1/16, so it'll be a total of 1/8. You think that might not be strong enough. Well, okay, put 1/8 in here if you want to. I don't care. I think it's strong enough. For a couple of reasons there as well. Where is the pick? Here we go. By the way, don't make this fit too good or you won't be able to get anything underneath it while you're mocking it up. I don't know what you'll do. You'll have to dig it out of there. What were we talking about? Oh, the reasons why I think that a 1/16 laid over a 1/16 is strong enough. Remember, we're cutting out some of this to make an engine well. There will be structure under there, right? So that actually acts as a little bit of strength. Your rear motor mount is going to be probably, I don't know, mounted in what, this area? So pretty close to the wall, close to that other structure that'll be underneath. That'll be pretty strong. Your front one will be up here. It'll be hanging out in the breeze a little bit, but it's going to be fine. 1/8 inches, thick enough. Plus, it's 2 pieces laminated together. It's going to be strong, baby. It's going to be strong. You may see I did the main grain of the plywood It's they alternate the grain in plywood, of course, but the outer 2 layers is one direction or another. They're running this way, which makes it bend real easy, right? I go the other direction, and you can do it, but it's much, much harder. So this will lay in there really pretty. It's opposite of the way the floor is now, which is in some ways a good thing, right? Because we're doing that whole alternating layer thing again. And I'm just going to store that right over there. Okay, so we're on the right side of the boat here, where our fuel tanks are going to go. You're going to do this if you're building a nitro boat. You're just going to take your pencil and draw yourself a nice line like I did here. Grind this completely out. I already did it down here. I don't know if you can tell, but I've cut into that 3/16 piece that we used here. I've taken it down pretty close to an 1/8 maybe. So basically you're making this opening much taller. Why? This has to go through there. And it will, once you finish taking this out quite a ways. The top part here, you're basically taking it out all the way to 3/16, because you'll recall we're going to lay this 3/16 material on the inside here eventually. Can I show you that? Yes. Eventually it's going to go here. So we're going to take this opening all the way to that. And again, down as far as we have to go here, which should be about 1/8 of an inch. So up to that 1/8 inch up here, because that's 1/8 of an inch on the side, this 3/16 by 1/8. So 1/8 of an inch up here, 1/8 of an inch down here, and that will allow you to install the fuel tank from the inside out into this area, which you will then slide forward into place. Now I know it won't fit through yours because you haven't sanded yours out yet. You got to remove a lot of this material here. And then can you see that somewhat, I don't want to say notched, but extra material removed from this area here, which is where this little nubby will pass through, as well as your stopper and so on that you're going to have here as it passes through there. We're going to have an opening cut out here. I'll show you exactly how we do that and the size to use there, as well as part of what it's going to do is retain this tank into position. Plus, when you install this, behind it, I know I'm not a big fan of pool noodles, but behind it you'll shove a pool noodle that will push here and against the tank that holds it into place. Then to remove the tank, you just pull that pool noodle out. Through this opening, you push it back and it'll come right out. Okay, it works. I've done it. You'll see. Wait till we get to the sump tank. Oh, you're gonna love it. All right, yeah, so it dawns on me, you need to know what tank. You're gonna get a 14 slant. Don't get the flex, okay? SS14 number 442. And this is the unicorn of fuel tanks. It's a 2-ounce SS2 number 436. If you're building it my way, you're using a total of 16 ounces with the 14 and the 2. And that's all you need. I know some guys run 18 and stuff, but I'm telling you, that's pretty silly. I can run 5 hard laps and 2 penalty laps if I have to. I'm on fumes at the end, but if you're running 2 penalty laps, you already screwed up. And that's with a 3-minute mill too. So those are the ones you want. This one, like I said, is the unicorn. It's hard to find. I don't think they're making it anymore. They're still out there. You can find them on eBay. Every now and then you'll find one on Amazon. And there's a number of websites that still have these available. So pick up a couple of them. Well, you don't need 2 for the boat, but you need a spare. Take with you. Okay. Did you carve that out? Here we go. Oh, get the finger out of the way. Right hand, here's how the tank gets installed once the boat's assembled. This guy goes in and she goes forward. We're about to install a new piece here that'll limit its travel to where it needs to be. And then we'll make our opening for the small tank as well as our opening to attach the fuel lines here. Okay? That's what you're doing. Told you it would fit. Okay, so that's what you're going to do right now. Go ahead and cut this out. Cut this out if you want. Cut this out. lay in your floor. Okay? And then we'll be back soon. All right. Bye. Go build a book.